Okay. Let's get started. Hey, what's happening? Tim with Nomad Trading. Just going to go over some of the hot stocks of the day, unless I get several people in here watching live. Then we will chat and answer questions and talk about some different things. If anybody wants to talk, jump on here. Give it a like if you end up watching this. If you're watching this live, make sure you like, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment, all that wonderful YouTube algorithm stuff that makes YouTube love me. Last time I think we had at one point like 20 people in here. Pretty cool. If this time doesn't work as well, maybe I'll do it later in the evening like I did the last time. But we'll see. It's Monday night football tonight, so maybe people will be watching that. That's kind of why I figured I should jump on here earlier before dinner time and before football time. Anyway, today the hottest stock of the day was SAVA. So they had news. Let's see what the news was. We got cassava Sciences. I don't know. Rose in afternoon trading. The company said before the market opened that in a phase 2B study, significantly improved an entire panel of validated biomarkers of disease in patients with Alzheimer's disease. So it's an Alzheimer's disease drug. That's why it's up so much. That's a big thing that there's no cure for, and every time a drug comes out that has any even halfway decent data for Alzheimer's improvement, there ends up being a giant increase in the stock price. Today, as of right now, up 136%, so up quite a bit. You can see some of my awesome trend lines. I've been doing trend lines lately a lot more. The more I use them, the more I like them. So, for instance, it's kind of an art, and it's I don't know. It's great until it doesn't work. Kind of like everything else in the stock market, like that you can draw the trend lines, but then it'll break that trend line. So then you're looking for the next place to draw the next trend line, if that makes any sense. Like on here's VXRT, which was another big one today, and this is a good example of that where I was drawing lots of trend lines. So where the trend lines come in handy is when it breaks the trend line, or if you want to buy or short as it approaches the trend line. So like for instance, I had drawn this one this afternoon, and then as it broke that trend line, that'd be a good place to go long, because you're above VWAP, green on the day at that point, and it breaks the trend line, the downtrend. As it breaks that, kind of almost a flag pennant type pattern, and as it breaks that trend line, that's when you can get long and scalp it for a decent little percentage. And then same thing here where it's downtrending again, and then as it breaks out, you could take a trade and try to scalp it there, or if you held it even longer, you'd be better off. But you can draw trend lines anywhere. I could draw little baby trend lines in here. It's like I said, there's no definite science to trend lines by any stretch of the imagination. It's a lot of just going by what you're looking at and where you think they're going to be, and the more you do it, the more you see. But it does come in handy because when the trend lines become somewhat pronounced, you do see stocks reacting to that. Enough people are watching it, enough people are looking at that trend line that it ends up being that self-fulfilling prophecy that I talk about all the time. So with this stock here, I drew this trend line here along the bottom, and every time it would come close to that, it would bounce off of it. So, it happened multiple times throughout the day that it did not break that. Now, after hours, it is breaking below that, or has below that. But you got to remember, it is after hours, so it holds a little bit less weight when it's breaking down the trend lines after hours when there's not as much volume. So could still break below that, and then wouldn't be surprised to see that curl up in the morning. This one, I wanted to short this all day, but I did not, and the reason being that it was pretty beaten down. And when you get a stock that's pretty beaten down over the last couple of weeks, and you have a nice big green day with a ton of volume, a lot of times that is a good, especially with news, a good catalyst like that. Then you get a short squeeze. So it's hard to tell how high it's going to go, and shorting it on that first green day after it's been beaten down, like I said, with news, with volume, when everything lines up like that, it's dangerous to be shorting it. So I'm going to be watching this one tomorrow. I would like to see it spike into this consolidation range into the market open. If it could, like say maybe $10, that would be awesome, and I'd be looking to maybe get short somewhere in there, and then see if it could fade back down over the rest of the day or the next day or two if I decided to hold it overnight, which I rarely do. This stock here, SAVA, that we were talking about, this one showed some strength as it was below VWAP and the 200, and then it was able to break through VWAP and got halted. Looked a little bit weak because out of that halt, it ended up fading back down at one point below VWAP. So drew a couple of trend lines, and it was trading in these channels here for a while, and then just broke through below the channel. But again, it's after hours. We're still above VWAP. We're still above the 200 moving average. So not real excited to get short on that either. I've been focusing more on shorts lately, trying to focus in on that side of my game. But yeah, so in this situation here, I'm not looking to get short because it's after hours and because it's still holding the 200, still holding above VWAP. And again, if you look at the daily chart, it was red on the day, and it went from red to green, and it broke through VWAP, and it finished somewhat strong. So these are all things that scare me away from getting short on day one on a green candle. So it's another one to watch tomorrow into resistance, really anywhere tomorrow after market open, to see if it's a possible short. Or it could be a long. I mean, it could go either way. And I'm trying to get good enough at my trading game to go whichever direction, to try to get better with that. As far as me personally, also, people that have watched me know that I have a $100 a day goal, and this is day 5 of averaging over a $100 gain. So pretty excited about that. 5 days in a row over $100. Alex R, you won't believe I just got a Dan True Trader ad. Ah, that's that guy I was talking about, isn't it? That guy cracks me up. Excuse me. I've heard people say that his course is actually pretty good, but I don't know. I've never done it personally. I just think his ads are hilarious and ridiculous, annoying. He's probably putting them all over my videos. Now that I'm monetized, I'm probably advertising for Dan. Oh yeah. nailing the bottoms and the tops. A lot of people are always asking me, Dan, how are you always nailing these tops and these bottoms all the time? Literally no one's asking you that, Dan. You just want them to buy your course. I don't blame you. Maybe I'll make a course one day and people will buy my course, and I'll make super annoying, cringy ads for it. You never know. Another stock, IMMU. This one not very good for day trading. Too expensive for one thing, and for another thing, even though it gapped way up and had a bunch of volume, it wasn't a very good day trading stock. I only brought it up because it's insane. It went up 100%. I'm sure it was probably some kind of buyout or something. I didn't even look at the news. Oh, acquisition. Yep, I figured. Yeah. So this is exactly what I talked about in my last live stream. This is exactly the scenario I was on the wrong side of that made me not want to hold stocks overnight anymore. It's literally the exact same thing. I was short, and of course my short setup was a little better on the stock that I was shorting, but I woke up in the morning and it had doubled in price, gapped up like that, and I was down almost $10,000. So a little bit scared to hold stocks overnight. SPAC's a lot of people have been talking about SPAQ SPAC, along with NKLA and Tesla and all those stocks. You like my impersonation, Alex? Anyway, yeah. So a lot of people have been talking about this. We were watching it, I think on my last live video, we talked about this stock. Somebody was asking about it and we were talking about it. And I was saying that, it had this resistance in this area here on the daily chart. And it had like 4 days of topping candles with long wicks, which is not typically a very bullish sign. But today it broke through that and had a great big green candle, busted through that resistance, got decent volume. So pretty cool. I would look for price target perhaps in the 1850 range next, if it can stay up here and curl up maybe tomorrow. Maybe we can get to the 1850. Super choppy though. I mean, look at that. This is the daily chart for today. So unbelievably choppy. Every time it pops up, it sells right back down where it came from. So not exactly what I want to see in a stock that I'm going to hold for several days, but yeah, might have been a decent day trading stock. Let's see what the range was. 1744, 1616. So yeah, you got about $1.50 to $1.75 range if you could hold it that long. But hard for me to day trade stocks like this that are this choppy. If you just look at the amount of big red drops, if I'm holding that long, then I'd be getting scared as it's having these big drops, not wondering, is the bottom going to hold? Is it going to double bottom or keep going? On the short side, the same thing, big green candles up. It's just hard to hold this stock as a day trader or really even profitably scalp it. It's more, I would say, of a swing trade, but again, didn't have the best setup here until today. It probably had news today. I don't know if it was just a technical breakout. Yeah, that doesn't look like anything exciting. Did you miss out on Tesla's big run? Where's Tesla at right now? Let's see where Tesla's at. Whoops. What are you doing, Tim? You can't spell it out. It had a nice bounce day as well. And I know NKLA did also. So apparently it's a good day for the electric car, alternative car stocks. Big days. Tesla probably leading the way on all those bounces. The market today, S&P up 1.22%. The S&P ETF SPY. Cool. Looks like that's consolidating and has a chance to hopefully break back up after it's consolidated. Could also break down, we'll see, but hopefully not. Let's see what else we got. Neo was another one I watched. There's one I can't remember. There's a recent IPO that I was wanting to short today. Dang it. Clicking the wrong thing. Bear with me here. SQQQ, no. I don't know. I don't know what I'm not seeing. I know I was watching one earlier today that was a recent IPO that's ran up a lot, and then today it was having a huge down day, and I was wishing all day that I should have been shorting it, but I didn't. How about you talking about shill? Yeah, that's another one that people keep talking about. Let's see, shill. SHLL. Yeah, that's come down nicely off of its highs. 4 red days in a row, so would have been a decent entry at 43, around 43 today. Could have bounced off of this nice, the tops of these candles here, which it pretty much did. Looks like it got down maybe even to 42 on those before it bounced, yeah. So maybe we'll be looking for a possible green day tomorrow on SHLL if the market doesn't drag it down somehow. But I like the way it looks on the daily for a possible green day tomorrow. Somebody said VXRT. Yeah, we were talking about VXRT. I don't know. Will it continue tomorrow? The news is good, but how good? I've got to say I've had over the years I've seen several different companies with news like that you think is going to keep running and then it doesn't. This one, the news was FDA sign off for COVID-19 vaccine trial. So a COVID-19 play. They're not quite as hot as they were, and it's approaching possible resistance in the 8 when it gets above 850 or so. Let's see where this candle topped. Yeah, this candle topped out about 850 today. So if I was guessing, I would say let's see, the drops. It's still above VWAP, which is good. It's fallen below the 200 moving average, but still holding above VWAP. Had a lot of volume. I would say, let's see. Yeah, see, we're getting into that even just on the 14-day. Oh, the 15 minutes, not quite as bad. Yeah, when it gets up in that, you can see over here, if you look at, if we're looking 14 days out, it's no coincidence that above $8 it's having a little trouble. And then you look at today, this is a 15-minute chart. And today, same thing. Every time it got up in that above $8, it sells off heavy. So for me, I would say that it probably pulls back and fades tomorrow. It's definitely a watch above $8 or above the high of day today, pre-market high of 850. I'd be watching it over $8. I will be watching it tomorrow and seeing what it can do. If I was gonna guess at it, I would say that it's more likely to fade tomorrow, but we'll see. Could go either way, honestly. When you get, it's got, let's see, 204 million shares. So when you got 204 million shares, I know I've said this on other videos, but when you have 204 million shares, it can pretty much go either way. That's a ton of volume, and you got to figure that there was people shorting it that all of a sudden got caught by surprise. So they're going to try to be piling on, and probably were today, and you get a rotation of the float between shorts covering and people buying it because of the news and knowing that shorts are covering it. So I don't know, but it gets a little bit more to me. Like if I'm looking at this as a buy, I'm looking at all these different days that it's consolidated in the nines. Everything basically over 850. See how the top of today's 850 candle is right at the bottom, the low of this dip. And those things aren't coincidences. With the stock market, it's all about trying to predict where people are going to jump out at. So if you're looking at the stock going up today and you're trying to figure out where it's going to stop at, well, you can start looking at these levels. Like the bottom of this candle is a level you could look at, which did happen to be where it stopped at, where it topped out at. But then after that, you'd be looking at the bottoms of these candles here. And that's where it's going to really start, in my opinion, running into more resistance is in the nines, the low nines. So definitely going to be on the watch list. But if I was going to guess on it, I would say it might pop up in the morning and then end up fading, like maybe open. This is just a guess because I'm not clairvoyant. But if I was going to guess and take a stab at it, I'd say maybe it continues up pre-market and maybe gaps up and opens higher, maybe in the nines, and then fades all day. That's my random guess. Kind of a little bit like it did this day, only I don't think it's going to go that high. But had a lot of volume, gapped up, and then closed a nice big red candle. So that's my prediction for tomorrow. I'm gonna predict that maybe pre-market it goes up if there's no offerings or anything, and then maybe we open up in the 9 area and then fade back. Random guess. Could also just open lower and fade right back down where it came from. That's the thing about biotechs too, is that they're so, I don't know, I've learned my lesson the hard way on biotechs many times about holding them and thinking, getting in the mindset that and biotech to me is one of the sectors that's the worst about this, where you find yourself holding it and you think, oh, it had great news, it had great Alzheimer's study, it had great COVID-19, the FDA green-lighted it, whatever. Great news, definitely going up tomorrow. And then the next thing you know, it's back down where it came from. And you're sitting there like, what? How can that be? How can this thing have good news and be way up and then go all the way back down where it came from? So biotechs can get pretty sketchy. I don't know if that's because more people short them or just because that there's more trials coming and there's more phases coming, so they don't hold their gains as well sometimes. I don't know. But they can be amazing to the upside, but they can also destroy your heart and feelings and break your heart going to the downside. Anyway, potential dip buy tomorrow. Yeah, it very well could be. SAVA is holding up better than I thought, honestly. Like with it going below VWAP and curling up, and then it didn't ever get to the pre-market highs. So with the way it came out of the halt and faded, the way it was already below VWAP in the 200, the way it never ended up making it to the high of day again, I really thought that this thing that it would break down. Like a lot of times when you see these curls, then when it gets in the afternoon, that curl will break down, and then you'll just see it tanking or fading the rest of the day, or after hours, whatever, and into the next day. So kind of shocked at how well SAVA has held up. Maybe that will be some kind of indication that it'll keep going tomorrow, because it's still hanging around that $8 range. As far as VXRT, this one to me looks weaker if I'm looking at the two of them and just guessing at it. This one looks weaker to me. I don't know if it's like, I guess it's the big drops and the choppiness, and it has stayed above VWAP all afternoon, which is good. But it just really, it has a nice bottom here. So if I was gonna hold it, I'd be holding it with some of these bottoms in mind for a stop loss. Not necessarily after hours or pre-market, but at the same time, it just depends on where your position is, where you got in at, on how underwater you are. But yeah, I'd definitely be watching these levels, all these bottoms, because it's put in quite a few bottoms in that same range. So you got something to at least risk off of and kind of look at if you are holding it overnight. Might be a dip buy, like Alex said. Let's see. Yeah, it could be. It could be a dip buy. Maybe it'll dip down pre-market, and then the volume will come in as the market opens. It'll shoot up. That'd be cool. I'd love to trade it tomorrow. I said earlier on this, I don't know if anybody's been watching it the whole time, but my goal's $100 a day, and this is day 5 of hitting that $100 plus average. So I'm pretty excited about that. Small gains, nothing exciting compared to what I used to do when I traded my bigger account sizes. But as far as the scaled down trading goes, with the $100 a day consistently, that's my goal. And then after I do that for, the majority of a month or two, I'll probably put more money back in my accounts and scale up a bit. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I got tired of the crazy roller coaster and pulled money out of my accounts, and now I trade really small, which has been great for my emotions. Now if I have a down day or a trade goes against me, I'm using such small size that I don't feel that adrenaline, that panic. BLNK. Somebody said BLNK. Yeah, that was another of the alternative car plays, I think. Electric car play. Let's see. Yeah, from a technical standpoint, it's just consolidating in about the same range that it did over here. So, nothing to me that's very... I don't have conviction one way or the other on that. I mean, it could form a head and shoulders pattern and then go back down where it came from, or it could curl up and head back up. Right now, it's just kind of consolidating, kind of like it did over here on the other side. So nothing really to me that's that exciting about it, or I'm not seeing any conviction as far as long or short. Waiting for it to break out of that range, basically. Shema M. I've also been making $100 a day consistently. That's your goal. Good. Yeah, that's awesome. That's where I'm at. I've been doing it for a couple years. Was having crazy roller coaster swings, 1,000, 2,000 a day up or down, and it was just so stressful all the time. And so a lot of times I would hold overnight. There was just so much stress involved in it that I got tired of it. I got to the point where I wanted to, it's just at some point you realize it's not working, because my net gain was down. Like I was net overall negative a lot over the past couple of years. So it just occurred to me at some point that, hey, I'm stressing myself out. I'm getting so emotional and stressed out, and ultimately I'm losing more money than I'm gaining. This just doesn't make sense anymore. So get your money out, son. Take it small. When in doubt, and if things are getting emotional when you're in trades, the best thing you can possibly do is size down. Size it back. Take smaller size. You're not going to make as big a gains, but it feels so much better. You can let your winners ride longer. That's what I've been focusing on. I've been focusing on getting better at shorting and focusing on letting my winners ride by using stops. And you can't do that when you're using big size for your account. If you're using your whole account and you're looking at 10, 20, 30% losses on the day before it ever even gets to your stop levels, that's way too stressful, and you need to size down. It's just not a way to live, and you ultimately will just lose more money. So if you've been making $100 a day, that's awesome. That's consistency is key, and that's what I've learned myself. You know, if I can do this consistently, $100 a day. This is day 5. If I can keep that going, you know, for a couple more weeks, you're gonna have a red day here and there. That's okay. But if your red days are small and you're consistently green day after day after day with a red day thrown in, then you can start scaling up. That's where I'm at anyway. So hopefully I can keep having green days, maybe a red day here and there, but for the most part, green days, $100 a day. Do that for a month or so, consistently, preferably every day, and then I'll put money in and do the same thing with bigger size. Go up from there. $50 a day, Steve says, good. That's a good goal. You got to start somewhere, even if it's $10 a day. It's really about learning, and it's about confidence. I talked about that in the last live stream I did. Everybody's got a different account size too. I mean, there's tons of people on here on YouTube that are trading with huge accounts, hundreds of thousands of dollar accounts, and that's awesome. But everybody's got a different sized account. They've got different goals. So just set your goal based on your account and what you can afford to lose. If I was making $1 million a year at my regular job, I'd have a lot bigger goals. I'd have a lot bigger loss. My risk every day would be a lot different. So it's all about your own accounts and what you can afford to lose or gain and be comfortable with. At one point I was comfortable trading and losing thousands of dollars a day, but it just got to the point where I was losing more than I was winning, and it just gets super stressful when you find yourself like that one day that I woke up to almost a $10,000 loss. It's hard to bounce back from that. You spend your day every day trying to chase that money and get that money back, and ultimately that just leads to more losses. SAVA still holding above 200. Still holding above 8 at the moment after hours, surprisingly. Anyway, yeah, don't have near as many watchers. Maybe it's better if I go live later in the evening like I did last time. Might have to do that again next time. But anyway, anybody got anything else? I'm gonna get off of here. Got other stuff to do. I think we've already covered all the stocks that were big today. The main ones was SAVA and VXRT as far as momentum stocks, day trader stocks. VXRT really actually holding up better than I thought. It hasn't held that trend line there, but it's held pretty good considering. One of my children slammed my door. Considering it's just pretty well sideways, so it could kind of go either way. I don't like that it's below the 200, but what can you do? Apple Watch coming out. I don't look at Apple too much because it's so damn expensive. I think they did a split though, didn't they? So yeah, not near as expensive as it was. It looks like it could be primed for a bounce. Apple Watch coming out, huh? Interesting. Nice uptrend, nice pullback. It's pulled back pretty much right with SPY or the rest of the markets, and now looks to be starting to curl up, hopefully. So that could be cool. if they come out with an Apple Watch and that gets announced or whatever. I don't watch the, let's see, Apple expected unveil new watches and iPad tomorrow. Ooh, there you go. Primed for tomorrow. Curling put a little bit of a bottom in, some consolidation. So if it were to come out with awesome news tomorrow, that could be good. Be good for a bounce. Oh, let's see. Anyway, I'm getting a call from my dad at the moment. So that's about all I got, guys. If anybody's got anything else, type it up in the chat. Otherwise, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments, and I'll cover whatever you want. Maybe next time I'll go back to doing it a little later in the evening. We had a lot more people watching and involved when I did it at 7 o'clock or whatever. I did it in the evening last time. So maybe we'll do that next time. If not, thank you all for watching. Appreciate you guys, all the support and everything. It's been awesome. Making some money from YouTube now for the first time. So very, very cool. Thanks for the support. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Shama, Alex, all you guys for joining in here. Have a good evening. Hopefully we all are green again tomorrow. Peace out.